name was West, and she had worked for Wade Phillips at Philbrook. She was a baby nurse. She took care of the grandbabies, basically. And she would tell me things like that, and she would tell me about the Klan. You know, the oil companies were very involved with the Klan, and a lot of people don't know that. And she talked about the planes, that they were Phillips Petroleum planes, which they had a large aviation field. As a matter of fact, they designed one of the first spacesuits for space. They did a lot of technology. So it's not without outside the realm of reason that they did this. And plus, Nancy told me that they had bombed Tulsa. I don't think people understand how bad it truly was. And not much has truly changed. You know, my youngest, she was protesting and she was talking about that there was African Americans dead in the street, male and female. And today there are still African Americans dead in the street. And it's because of our sheriff's department. You know, that sheriff's department, in my opinion, is deadly. You know, I'm trying to be very careful how I say things because things are going so well. I don't want them to think that we're hating on the police, but I hate the violence. I hate the injustice. And things have to change. We have to have a new sheriff's department from the top down. When the corruption starts at the top, it trickles down. And it's just insane. Did you know there's Huckabee followers in the sheriff's department? They call them Huckabees. Have you heard of that?
I didn't know. No, I've never heard of that.
No, I have not confirmed this, but this is my understanding that Mr. Huckabee has a large sexual appetite, and that people. I'm really proud of him for speaking up.
I appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome.
Pray God get my nephews out of the penitentiary. I mean, my nephew was in his 20s when he went, and he's 41 now.
My gosh.
His daughter
There's a show. There's a show you might be interested in. It's called Mary Loves Justice. She has a website called that, and she's got a show here on Blog Talk Radio, and she deals with a lot of false imprisonment and success. She's from the Atlanta area or Georgia area, and she had this man on. I believe his name is Jimmy. I can't remember his last name. Go ahead.
I'm gonna get my tablet so I can write this down, and I could call her.
Well, while you're getting that paper, you know, this guy named Jimmy, this man named Jimmy, he had been in prison since he was 13 years old for a crime he did not commit. And he got out, I believe it was about 2 years ago, and she interviews and talks to him. And they actually really do stuff. Like I remember the show I called in on. There was a lady that was released from prison, and she didn't even have shoes. Did not even have shoes. And she's telling people her size, you know, get in contact with me. Let's help this woman. It's more than just talking to get attention. She actually does things, and that's what I like, groups that do things.
Her name is Mary what?
Mary Loves Justice. Let me go to her page. I'm a Facebook friend, and she's a really neat lady. Let me get Mary Neal. And
Mary Neal?
I'm going to her Facebook page and make sure I got the web page correct. I'm pretty certain I have. She's just a wonderful person and very proactive. N as in Nancy, EAL.
Okay, this is what? Neal. Her name is Neal.
Mary Loves Justice is her website. Let me go on to the about. Excuse me. Yeah, she studied journalism and.
Is it Neal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mary Neal is her name.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is Mary Loves Justice.
Mhm.
her
That's
email,
her Facebook.
which is public, is marylovesjustice@gmail.com.
Okay.
And her website is it's at Blogspot, BLOGSPOT, and again it's Mary Loves Justice. I can't tell you how wonderful she is.
All righty.
Like, here's her last one. She says, listen to my new episode, Mary Diaz, Human Conflicts Organization. To Florida DOC assigned Heather Chapman weekly visits with her son, Nico Albanese, who is a mentally ill inmate in solitary confinement. Nico was literally starving himself to death before his mom visits started. His nearly 6-foot frame had reduced to a mere 120 pounds. Heather's visits saved her son's life, but they are expensive, and she's asking to raise money for that mother so that she can do her weekly visits to save her son. Now, you would think that the justice system would get that man some help.
Is he black?
I would assume so from what I read there. The Nico, it doesn't say what the just that he's mentally ill. But she does stuff like that all the time, helping people.
Why is he in the prison if he's mentally ill?
Because it's Florida.
Oh.
Florida's pretty bad on stuff like that. Some states are worse than others.
Yeah.
But with autism, I've worked a lot with autism. The stories I've heard about Florida and perhaps someone that has autism being imprisoned and not understanding the charges, and they signed the paper and things like that. I do know for certain that Florida's pretty bad on mental illness, and not that autism is a mental illness, but there's they're incapacitated. Some of them I just what I'm trying to say. I'm stumbling over my words. And I'm looking down at just neat person. See, here's assistance to the incarcerated mentally ill, AIMI. She was talking about this. She interviews a lot of good people.
Okay, and this is her.
I like her interview.
Justice is name on Facebook.
Right, Mary Loves Justice, blogs and radio shows. She's on BTR, and it will be under Mary Loves Justice if you do the search. I better check my studio.
Yeah.
My people are supposed to call in, but they may be doing their songs and the chanting. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Glen's got to go. That type of thing. And and there's all different faiths also to give you more hope. The Nation of Islam, a lot of interfaith beliefs. They're all coming together, and it's a beautiful thing. It is so beautiful. If you go on YouTube and maybe even put "We the People of Oklahoma," it'll show some of the speeches. And for example, one protest that I was at, do you know the Jeremy Lake case?
No, I don't.
He was a young man that was shot down by a police officer, and the wife tried to cover it up. She was also a police officer. He was murdered by this man because he was shaking hands with his daughter. And that one was hard. This woman walked by and asked what we were doing. We were in front of the courthouse. Happened to be Jeremy Lake's stepsister. And she just started crying, because we were speaking up for Eric Karras and the others that had been brutalized and murdered by the sheriff's department / police department. And, things are just coming together the way they're supposed to. So she's now a part of that, the whole family. So the more we have united, the more we're heard. And if we speak in a peaceful manner, and speak the truth, the news has given us good coverage. They're there right now. And probably some of the people that were going to call in are being interviewed. I didn't even think of that. 6, 2, 8 are there, and they're giving us decent coverage, and they're not ignoring us. So that's a good thing.
Good.
A lot of the news coverages in other cities, they just try to find the troublemakers, but there are no troublemakers. So I'm just so pleased about that. The only thing I've heard about the Klan, at least, a young woman had her car vandalized. They had spray painted it. And she's with the Anarchy group, so I don't know too much more about that. But we've had pretty low resistance from the hate groups, at least, other than being some of them being called some unsightly names.
Yeah.
But I'm really pleased with the turnout, and now I'm hoping if people from Tulsa are listening, and if you are registered. Oh, there's quite a few there, but I'm trying to speak to the people of Tulsa right now. If they are listening to this podcast, an archive of this podcast, we have, I believe it's 30 more days to get 5,000 signatures. It may be 35 more days. But we need your signatures. If you're a registered voter within Tulsa, you have to use the same address that's on your voter ID card where you registered for. And if you are not a registered voter, I believe most of our petition sites, like at 41st and Garnett's one, if I do a show tomorrow, I'll give you a listing of all the sites. We'll have our double-decker bus driving around for 8 to 10 hours on Saturday getting signatures. We need your signature to get a grand jury investigation of Sheriff Gallant. This is not a hate group. We're just trying to expose what needs to be exposed and fix what needs to be fixed. And we're going through the court system to do this. This is the right way to do it. This is an effective way. This is a way that most cities do not want you to know about. If you're calling or listening from another city, your city doesn't want you to know that you can go before the court to file a petition. In our city, it costs $137. And then the judge says, yes, you can do this petition to get a grand jury, and then you have to get your signatures. You just have to organize, get things together, find the department that is doing a petition to get a grand jury trial. That's all you have to do. It is that simple. That is what the cities, like in Baltimore, do not want you to know. They would rather have you riot and all this stuff because nothing will change. The only way to effect change, at least as I see it, is through this grand jury in the city of Tulsa. So, and the more we expose the darkness to the light, the more people are going to know about it, and they can make better informed choices when it comes to elections for sheriff. So, I'm going to take a break and try to get some of my people to call in. Have you heard of the artist known as Killer Mike?
No.
He's performed at Ferguson. He's been interviewed by CNN. He's the son of a police officer, and he has a lot to say about the society that we live in today. He kind of reminds me of when Tupac would do songs about, the way things are and the way they should be. He's our this generation's Tupac, in my opinion, and he's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put you on hold if that's all right and play the song and call my people. Try to get them to call in. You can learn more. Go ahead.
Well, I got to go.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm honored that you call in, and I'm going to hopefully be able to do another show tomorrow.
What had done at that time, I have it muted, is I had played the song and talked to her privately, gotten her info, passed it on to the leader/organizer, sorry, I don't mean to yawn, of our group. She was already, the court case was already with the Innocence Project, but they did a renewed interest in it starting with July